Guten Morgen, liebe Kollegen und Freunde. It's my honor today to share excerpts from letters sent by JESCO's Russian colleagues and friends. From the president of the Association of the Russian Federation Space Museums, Cosmonaut Vladimir Bykov. With deep sorrow, we received the news about the passing away of Jesko von Puttkamer. It is hard to overestimate the humanitarian role of that amazing person in the history of cosmonautics. His unique personality combined engineering and technical professionalism with his ability to perceive the fates of those people who tied their lives with space. Jesko was close to us through his enthusiasm about the exploration of remote frontiers of our universe, missions to Mars, building a base on the moon, and his belief that Russians and Americans together will be solving the most complicated projects of the future. And we knew him and will remember him as an open, friendly person who is dreaming about the future the way children do. From chairman of the annual Korolev readings in Moscow, a favorite venue of Jesko's, academician Legostyaev and coordinator Medvedeva, Professor von Puttkamer, a co-worker of Wernher von Braun, was a live legend himself. Over the past several years, through his books and history papers, he was bringing together our peoples, representatives of NASA and Roscosmos, scientists, historians, and veterans of the space industry of the two countries. He opened up new pages in our knowledge about the Saturn and Apollo programs and the history of competition between these two space countries. During his last report at the readings in January of last year, he fondly referred to academician Chertok as the Pushkin of the space program. Now they are connected in heaven and are calling us to continue one big common cause. We will miss his smile, his voice, and his skill in capturing the attention of the audience. We will miss a good friend and history custodian. From the Memorial Museum of Cosmonautics, signed by several cosmonauts and heroes of the Soviet Union and Russia, including director of the museum, Lazutkin. His great personal contribution to the development of rocket and space technology, his charisma, his friendly and sincere respect for us will remain forever in our hearts. From the Institute of Biomedical Problems, Director Ushakov and Deputy Director Orlov. All the life of Dr. von Puttkamer, his multiple talents and exceptional abilities were devoted to the selfless service of his favorite pursuit, the development of safety equipment for piloted missions in Earth's orbit, missions to the moon, and a projected voyage to Mars. Jesko was a person of the highest spiritual culture, exceptional kindness and charm. He was well known and admired in Russia. His activities made a weighty contribution to the expansion of international cooperation, strengthening peace and friendship between our nations. His passing is a bereavement to everyone who had the good fortune to know him in person. Members of the Institute grieve the loss and present their sincere sympathy. Warm memories of Dr. Jesko von Puttkamer will always live in our hearts and will remain in the history of world astronautics. From our own Yelena Morocco in the NASA office in Moscow, Jesko has been my good friend for the past 15 years. Looking back, I realize now that if it had not been for Jesko, I would have missed many things in my life, many significant things in my life. I probably would never have endeavored to read the bulky volumes of Rockets and People, and I would not have developed family-like ties with the author, academician Boris Chertok, and the Korolev family. Both held Jesko in great respect. I probably would never have visited Huntsville and learned about the history of Rocket City firsthand from a person who was among the pioneers of the U.S. space program. I certainly would never have found the little Ivy Hillside Cemetery in Alexandria where Wernher von Braun was buried and where Jesko himself wanted to find his final rest. Jesko's favorite phrase over the last couple of years was, "The last shirt has no pockets." When he came to Moscow, he was so generous in sharing his great knowledge and expertise in his public speeches, his photos and documents with the space museums, his ideas and dreams with his friends, journalists, and the general public. Jesko was a true gem for the documentary makers and the museum specialists in Moscow, since in addition to U.S. space history, he thoroughly knew and was sincerely interested in Soviet and Russian space history as well. We all missed him at the annual Korolev readings the last week of January, which he had attended since 2005. During the week, many people continued to express their condolences. Jesko has certainly become part of the extended U.S.-Russian space family. He was deeply admired and will be greatly missed. One last excerpt from the great designer Sergei Korolov's family. Jesko's colleagues in Russia highly respected him and perceived him as the last Mohican of Wernher von Braun team of rocket scientists. Jesko was a real gentleman and a great host. He introduced us to the United States and made that trip very memorable and enjoyable. Our family has maintained close and warm contacts with Jesko. Besides his significant contributions to the space program, his great knowledge and interest in Russian space history, Jesko von Puttkamer was a great friend. We will always miss his warmth, eagerness, openness, and a good laugh. Thank you.